Hi, welcome to Shakespeare month 2. This month I thought for January, for the new year, everyone is busy, everyone is getting back to their routines. I thought it would be good to do something familiar that most of us know. And so this month we will be watching and contemplating Romeo and Juliet. Now, I would be surprised if there is someone watching this who wasn't either made to read this or watch this in school or is not familiar with this story. So, very quickly, we all know Romeo and Juliet come from warring, feuding families. They fall in love with each other and love each other so ardently but so recklessly that they bring about great tragedy through misunderstandings, and both end up dead. But I guess the light at the end of that tunnel is that the families resolve to make peace. I have never considered Romeo and Juliet a great romance. I mean, the poetry of love is beautiful in this, but they just are both so foolish that I thought it's a cautionary tale about how discernment is important even when you're in the throes of love, which I'm not sure about in Shakespeare's time, but definitely in medieval times, love was looked upon as a sickness, which you can kind of understand, and that marriage was more of a practical thing, and that romantic love was you were under some kind of sick spell because it would just make you do ridiculous things, and that definitely applies to Romeo and Juliet. There's a lot thematically to dig into in Romeo and Juliet, even though I think it's a pretty simple plot-wise play to follow that we're basically all familiar with. But like I said, the poetry of love in it is beautiful. Of course, the balcony scene, the palm to palm with Holy Palmer's kiss scene when they first meet. It's just, I wish people still flirted like that. It's great. That is, of course, what Romeo and Juliet is known for. And I'm trying to think of if I can think correctly of one of my favorite lines from Juliet. It's, my bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give, the more I have, for both are infinite. I just think that is a really beautiful line. And if there's anything that jumps out at you when you watch the play, just jot that down. A lot of times, the first time I really click with a new Shakespeare play that I haven't been familiar with is just one line. And it just is just like, for me, just one line. So if that's all you get out of any of these plays, I think that's great, And then just throughout your life, as something comes up and you see some Shakespeare, something else might click for you. The other themes, of course, of Romeo and Juliet, there's the feuding families and how just ill-advised it is to hate someone without even knowing why at this point, and just how futile that is, and how it just brings destruction and sadness to all involved. And that's a pretty straightforward, easily grasped concept. And then again, what is the real tragedy? Of course they both die, that's tragic, but what's the real tragedy is just how full steam ahead, like just a little bit of restraint, just a little bit of critical thought, just a little bit of, well, let's wait and see what happens. If we're going back to 12th Night, someone was emailing me about the line, "Time, thou must untangle this knot, not I, it is too hard for me to untie." That sometimes let's just sit back and see what happens. Romeo and Juliet could definitely have benefited from that. And those are my general thoughts about this play at this moment. I would be really curious to see what everyone gets out of revisiting this play, because, it's something we probably all think we know pretty well, but may discover something new on this viewing. I also wanted to mention that if you are a Francis Bacon as Shakespeare fan, which I am, that this play was supposedly inspired by his trip to the French court when he was a teenager and he fell in love with the sister of the king, who was married and who was already having an affair with another duke. But if he was recognized as the Prince of England, he maybe would have been able to marry her, but he wasn't. And then things between France and England were pretty precarious at that time. But it's said that love affair he, always carried with him and never got over, and that there's a lot of elements to his life when I believe it was when he was 16 to 19 when he was at the French court, that experience is really the blueprint for Romeo and Juliet, because they're not historical characters that he, poached from some Greek something that he read. They're just made up characters. Okay, so those are my general thoughts. There are a couple versions of Romeo and Juliet I'm going to recommend. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, I've linked, there's a version from the 70s that I've linked, which you can watch. There are three main ones I'm thinking of. There's the 1968 Franco Zeffirelli Romeo and Juliet. It's very romantic. It's the one that I watched in school. And you can actually watch it in pieces on YouTube. There's, it's 6-minute clips, but you can watch the whole thing. So I have that linked on a playlist on this channel. If you're on the Shakespeare Month YouTube channel, you can watch it there. You can also rent it from YouTube for $2.99. So that's linked in that playlist also. And that one I remember, I really liked the Romeo. He's really cute and it's really beautifully done. There is also a version from 2013 with Haley Steinfeld, a young actress, and Douglas Booth, a young British actor. And that version, the first time I saw it, I thought it was like, meh, it's pretty decent. But now that I'm thinking about it more, there are two things that really make me like it. I mean, first of all, I think I think this is my favorite one to recommend to people watching this, Romeo and Juliet from 2013. And the reasons I really loved it is there are so many great actors in the supporting cast also, but the friar character played by Paul Giamatti, he's trying to be to give guidance to Romeo, and you can really see him getting frustrated that he's not taking his advice, which is great. I just love his characterization of the friar. And then also Lord Capulet, Juliet's father, is a wonderful actor, Damian Lewis, and you really see the pain when he is going to disown Juliet for marrying Montague. You see, and it's making me emotional thinking about it, like the pain of feeling like he has to do that to his daughter that he loves, but he's got to disown her, basically. And I just think those two small characters are so well done in that version that I think that's my favorite one to recommend. The 68 Franco Zeffirelli film is very beautiful, very they've got the tights and what you expect from a Shakespeare play. And there is also the Baz Luhrmann 1996 or 1998 version, which is very modern, but it has the language, it has the Shakespearean language. And if you like something energetic and different and modern, that one is also very good. But I think I'm going to recommend the 2013 Haley Steinfeld. That's the actress who plays Juliet. That's my favorite one to recommend. So, unfortunately, that one was on Netflix and they just took it down January 1st. So, I forgot to mention that for Romeo and Juliet, really you can watch any version. It's not like 12th Night where there's one that I really, really recommended over anything else. So just watch whatever is available, whatever you feel like watching. I forgot to mention that you can rent DVDs through your local library. I don't know who makes use of that. I certainly make a lot of use of my local library. But you can rent for free. I'm sure there are tons of versions of any of these Shakespeare plays, so that's a good resource because we have a whole month to think about this. So you can always do that. I believe there are a couple versions available for rent on Amazon Video for like $2 or $3. And then I do have linked some free versions on YouTube underneath this video in the description. And I've also have a Romeo and Juliet playlist on this YouTube channel. So you can see there is the 1968 version broken up in chunks. There's a playlist for that. So that is all I have for now. I feel like I may want to do another video mid-month because as I'm revisiting this play, there may be some new things that pop up for me. The lessons in it are really pretty straightforward, I think. So it's really hearing the language and just seeing what sticks out to you. And I'll be really interested to hear what everyone thinks about revisiting this play. And we'll see what this new exploration will give us. It's been a while since it's been probably a couple years since I saw that 2013 version. So it's been a couple years since I revisited Romeo and Juliet. And like I said, the language is so beautiful, even if their actions are pretty regrettable. And of course there's all those kind of common sense lessons, and I'm excited to discover something new in this play myself because on every viewing there's going to be something different. So I will check back in to let you know if there's anything new I discovered, and if you have any thoughts or questions, or if you want to share anything that I can disseminate in a video, you can email shakespearemonth@gmail.com, and that's one word, shakespearemonth@gmail.com. All right, guys, happy January, and let me know what you think of Romeo and Juliet. Bye.